At the time this video is made, 25 years ago, or back in 1999, some big things were happening in car audio. That's right, a lot of companies were using overseas manufacturing. Best Buy and Rockford Fosgate were joining so that Rockford Fosgate could sell their amplifiers and subwoofers, etc. It was a big move for Rockford, but was it the right move? We'll find out later in the video. Here in this 1999 Rockford Fosgate brochure, we can see them talking about their new amplifiers, also and some of the technologies involved in these amplifiers, which most of them were patented, including DSM, Topaz, Mesha, Nomad, Indigo. That's right, you would think Rockford Fosgate was Microsoft at the time with all these acronyms. The 1999 amps known as Black and Grind must have been inspired by R. Kelly.
This is not a Mickey Mouse program!
Continuing in the 1999 brochure, we can see the amplifiers listed here. There are about 12 different models, but we're going to focus on the Punch 800A2 today, which is the one here at the top. This was the most powerful Punch version of a 2-channel amplifier. Some of the Power series were available in chrome, but the Punch series were only available in this black and grind finish. Let's take a look at this 1999 directory, where we can see the Punch 800A2. $800 is the retail price back in 1999. That's equivalent to around $1,490 in 2024. At the time, Rockford Fosgate was very strict with online sales, but companies like Crutchfield did have these amplifiers, and here they show them off as new models for 1999. And again, we're going to look at the Punch 800A2 there at the bottom, shown as $649 at a discount from the 800, which is equivalent to around $1,210 in 2024, back when we didn't have to pay full retail prices thanks to companies like Apple today. And here we have a great example of a Punch 800A2 with the brushed aluminum finish as well as the black accents. Overall, it's a really cool looking amplifier, but for the time it is kind of large. 18.5 inches for the length, 9.7 inches for the width, and for the height it's 2.6 inches or 66 millimeters. The cast aluminum end caps are also removable and will save you about 3 inches total on the length, but you also have to take into account the connections there at the end. But here are the end caps. Yes, these things are gold today. It seems like a lot of people got rid of these over the years. Here on one end of the amp, you can see we have speaker outputs, including the left speaker output for positive and negative, which accepts about 8-gauge wire. Also the punch bass from 0 to 18 dB at 45 hertz. The crossover frequency there, left gain control. Then we have the left and right RCAs, the right gain control, high level input. Then we have the switch for high pass, full, or low pass as a crossover. And then the right speaker terminal is on the right, again accepting up to 8-gauge speaker wire. On the opposite side, we do have a power LED. We have a spade connector there for the remote terminal for the turn on of the amplifier. And then for the B plus or 12 volt, we have dual 8-gauge. Also, the ground has dual 8-gauge connections as well. All the connections can be tightened down via Allen's key if he's kind enough to let you borrow them. Thanks to the alliance with Best Buy and dealers not having to match Best Buy prices, they actually had different model numbers. You can see here the Best Buy versions use Roman numerals, whereas the normal dealer models just use numbers. Kind of sneaky, but places like Lowe's and Home Depot do this with lawnmowers and appliances and tools, so they don't have to match the prices. Now, as far as ratings of this amp at 4 ohms, 200 watts by 2, 2 ohms, 400 by 2, or 800 watts at 4 ohms bridged. Now for the fun part, we'll crank up the amplifier and try it on the dyno here. On the left, you'll see the power output in watts. In the middle, the ohm load. On the right, the voltage of the dyno. We'll also have the remote clamp so that we can calculate the amplifier's efficiency.
You know how them sound waves go?
First up, we will try the stereo mode and 4 ohm stereo, where it's rated 200 watts by 2 at 13.8 volts. Let's do these tests at 1 kilohertz. Certified test first to 1% distortion. Can we get 200? Yes, very easily. About 262 average there at 13.89 volts. Now let's try the dynamic test at 4 ohm stereo. Here you can see we're getting well over 300 watts. about 333 watts average at 14.2. Now let's try the 2 ohm test, rated 400 by 2 at 13.8. Here's the test. Can we get 400 by 2? Oh no, not quite. 366 and 377 at 13.65. But yet let's crank up that voltage to closer to 14.4 and see what we can get. Certified test again, 2 ohms, 1 kilohertz. Can we get the 400? Yes, we can, but our voltage is a little high at 14.56, but we got the numbers. But we didn't get it at 13.8, which is kind of odd, especially for a Rockford amp. Dynamically, though, we killed it at over almost 600 watts per channel at around 14 volts. Next up, we're going to bridge this stereo amplifier into a mono amp by using the left positive and right negative connector. And it's rated 800 watts at 13.8 volts. We're going to run this test at 40 hertz, certified to 1% distortion. And yeah, we got a little shy, 724 at 13.79. But let's crank up that voltage closer to 14.4 at the end and see what we can get. Certified run, again, 40 hertz. Can we get that 800 watts? Right at it, 792 at 14.42. But again, this is a Rockford amp, so I really expect it to do well above that rated power, at least 10 or 15%, so it's kind of odd to see it do right at the rating. Uncertified to clipping, there you can see 725 at 13.73. But again, we're going to crank up this voltage a little bit higher, and let's try it again and see if we can get that 800 watts uncertified. And look at this, right at 800 watts at 14.48. Now, what about the dynamic test? Let's try the 40 hertz pulse tone. And yeah, the amp killed it, obviously, here dynamically. Almost 1200 watts, 1179 watts at 14.35 volts. As for the results here, I'm showing all the tests, including the 8 ohm stereo and 8 ohm mono test. Overall, the amp performed well. Efficiencies are shown there. This is a Class AB amp, so don't expect real high numbers. Was a little disappointed, though, with 4 ohms mono that it didn't do rated unless we gave it a lot of extra voltage, but I have seen this in other Punch 800 A2s that have been tested before as well. Now let's do some sound tests with the ELAC bookshelf speakers first, and we'll try a subwoofer second. Here we go. As teased before in a previous video, this Savard HO Elite 12-inch subwoofer. See if we can break it in a little with this Rockford Punch 800 A2. As you can see, this amp is flexing this high output subwoofer pretty nice, thanks to Bassatronics for making this real cool song a few years ago for the Rockford Fosgate Coffin video. Check that out if you haven't seen it. Here are the thermals of the amp, and yes, after pushing that 12, she did heat up. We got into the high 1 teens, but never shut down, and it ran 2 ohms mono, no problem. Here on the bottom of the amp, we would be concerned that we would be avoiding the warranty, but 25 years later, we know the warranty is already out. So let's take out the 6 screws on the bottom of the amp, including the 1 additional screw here on the side where the RCAs are, and take a look at the internals. Here we go. 1999 was really a pinnacle of the Class AB design. It had been perfected over the years, and Rockford Fosgate had some of the best Class AB amplifiers. Here you can see the 16-volt 2200 microfarad caps for the power supply, 4700 microfarad 80 volts for the rails, and these are all Nichicons, very good quality. And here you can see the transistors lined up on the amp here. This didn't have clamps. I thought maybe it was missing a clamp, but I asked Sean, my technician friend, and he said no, these didn't have clamps at the time. But overall, this is an excellent amplifier for sound quality, although it came up a little shy there on the 4-ohm mono test. Reminds me a lot of their most powerful offering during this time, the Power 1100A2. Check links in the video description to watch that video again. Now, as far as the RCAs go, I always talk about the Tiffany mount. When you have these board mounts, they are flexible. That's why I prefer Tiffany. Now, back to Best Buy. In 2010, Rockford said, "See ya, Best Buy. Nice knowing you. We're not going to use you anymore." In the press release, they alluded to leaving Best Buy and leaving that generic status, wanting to move to more of a premium status, as the Rockford Fosgate brand has been over the years. Thanks as always for watching my video. Make sure you smash me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Till next time, this Big D, I'm out of here. Those who stick around know we're going to show some extra tests. Let's try 2 ohms mono for the Punch 800A2. At 40 hertz, we get 888 watts, 14.13. Did not shut down. Now let's try the dynamic test again at 2 ohms mono, but we're using the 1 kilohertz track here. And you can see it keeps climbing over 1700, 1753 at 14 volts. Big D, I'm out.